Hi guys! Today I am sharing a project that is really close to my heart. A not for sale bundle to show my support to Greenland. As some of you might know, I am Danish, so this course of course means a lot to me. This isn't just a design tutorial, it's actually a way of giving back because I do have the files for sale for this, and for every sale I will be donating $1 to the Inuit Circumpolar Council, the ICC. It's a really tough word to say. But besides Greenland, they also support all the other Arctic countries. And to explain why I am wearing a jacket, it's not to look fancy, it's because it's actually freezing in Denmark and my workshop is too. But in this design package you will get a 10 centimeter ornament. The phrase on the side here is Kalalit Nonat, which is the Greenlandic word for Greenland. But besides the ornaments, I also included a simple round bagger, which you can scale up and use as a sign if you want. And also I made a tiny little 5 centimeter. This is a magnet, but I also applied it with a hole for a keychain in case this is what you prefer. In this video I will show you how to color fill your engravings. This one was color filled. The file also contains a scored version, and I'll show you how you can use masking tape to easily paint the letters. In case you want to grab the files, I just want to say thank you, and the link is dropped below. But let's get started on the techniques. This is more or less the content of the file. So you will have a big island which you can either engrave or score, and you'll have a smaller island which you can also either engrave or score. I made 3 types of baggers, one with an ornament hanger and one small version for a keychain, or you can use these as magnets or even badges. Also, I made a simple round edition because in case you do want to scale this up and use it as a sign, as example, this one will be perfect. I will be showing you 2 different ways of color filling to make them pop a little more. All my baggers are cut from the same type of plywood, but this one I stained with navy blue stain. This one was treated with dark beeswax. The white baggers are pre-painted plywood from Creatorally, and I will be adding links to everything that I use and also discount codes if they are available, in case you want to use the same as I did. But let's remove these baggers because what we are going to focus on is these islands. So this one was scored. Before scoring it, I used masking tape because I will then go in and peel out the letters, and I can then color in these with a Sharpie pen. So make sure that all your tape is stuck to the back, and then you can go in and use something sharp to just remove the inside of the letters. I will speed up this process a little because it is a little time consuming, but this is the easiest way in case you do want to use markers to paint the text. Once your masking is peeled, mine is now, I did have a little piece that actually lifted while it was in the laser, so that's why I prefer to use this material, because I can just wipe off all the residue with a wet baby wipe or a cloth. But once you have peeled everything, you can just grab a red marker or acrylic paint, if that's what you prefer, and then you just paint over your text. For the masking, you could use regular masking tape, but you could also just use painter's tape like I did here. It is a little harder to peel, but that's okay. I am using red marker. These are actually dual color markers, and I do love these very much. I might have to cover this twice because the pre-colored plywood that I am using is a bit glossy, so it doesn't soak up the paint as much as it could. Let's just paint this over real quick. And the only thing you have to keep in mind is that your tape will not lift, because then this method is not really ideal. But I'll paint the rest here, and I'll just let it dry for a minute, and I'll go over it once again. And I am actually not convinced that this is the color I like. I will be color filling with this chalk paint, so let's see if that would be a little prettier. So I'll just grab a brush instead, add a little paint, and just carefully, I'll not wipe hard, but I'll just carefully move over the text. Since the paint is more wet than a marker is, I could risk that it will kind of lift up the tape, and I don't want that. So just carefully go over text, and since you have already scored this, it should stop the paint from bleeding into anything else. But that's it. So I will leave this to dry, but while I could show you how easy it is to color fill the text. I'll not be color filling this one because I actually like how dark the engraving turned out. So I will be color filling the small one. And since I already have my chalk paint and my brush, I will just apply some paint, and I'll just push it down to my engraving. And I am not worried about painting the entire island red, because this is really, really easy material to color fill, because once I have it stuck inside the engraving, I will just take a baby wipe or a wet cloth and remove the excess paint. So I'll just make sure that everything is stuck inside here, which it is now. And then I will take a baby wipe, take my piece, and I'll just kind of wipe off the excess. So you can see already that this is working. Let's give it another go. And the cloth might be a little easier because all these small fibers can get stuck on the side of the cut islands. I'll just grab a piece of dry paper towel, place that down here. And you see, it is actually really easy. Now I can use my baby wipe to just clean up the areas where I did have some excess paint. The thing is that if you go over the text or your color filling too many times, you might risk that you pick up some of the paint. So the easiest way is to place something flat and just kind of run it over like this. So that's it. And this was really fast to do. I actually think that I will go over this once more because it is still looking a little transparent for my taste anyway. But this is pretty fast and easy as well. But of course, if you did have a marker, a red marker, that is the easier choice because then you wouldn't have to make this dry. What this heat will also do is that it might lift up your tape a little, so be a little careful if you are using the heater. But now you can just peel off, and I do see that it is grabbing some of my text as well. The reason for that is probably because I did use that much paint, so the paint inside my text is actually stuck to the tape as well. As I did before, I will use my little sharp tool to get a grip under the tape in the edges. So now that it's almost ready, I will just use my wet wipe to clean up the residue. See if I can grab a corner that's not soaked in red. And if you do use this technique, I would probably suggest that you use actual masking tape, because I do see that this painter's tape was very hard to peel off, especially after it got heated. Also because I only had thin pieces of masking tape, I actually used 2 pieces. I can just scratch off the line in the center here, but it did leave a line. Also, it did pick up some of my A and S, but I will just paint that in with a fine brush afterwards. But let's finish cleaning this up. And again, this is just a simple baby wipe, wet wipe that you use to dry the behind of your baby. And water is the only thing that this one contains. So you could use a wet cloth as well. This material is really easy to clean. But you could of course also use acrylic, white acrylic, or anything else. So now that I'm done with everything, let's try and arrange them again. I will still be fixing up the S and the A. But this is somehow what it would look like. The easiest method, in my opinion, is definitely the color filling of the engraving, which you can do like I did on this material, but you could also use masking tape to color fill your engravings. But hopefully this gave you a little inspiration, and if you are interested in these files, they are available in my Etsy shop and website. The links are dropped below. Also, if there's anything else that you would like me to share or show or make, just drop a comment and I'll happily do it. Until next time.